Are you confused about writing? Do you not know where to start or even how to finish? Do you love writing so much that it burns deep in your soul, but you still don't know how to meet your goals? Are you looking for a little inspiration that will take you on a writer's vacation? Then let us all write together. Let us all write our way. Well, hello again, my friends. Welcome to Write Our Way. I'm your host, Patrick Starks, and today we're going to talk about how to make writing fun. Now, I'm sure for some writers who write on a daily basis, sometimes it can get a little repetitive. Writing can be sometimes, in some people's eyes, boring, but this isn't necessarily the case if you find some creative outlets to it. I'm going to go ahead and get this portion out of the way. One of the main things that I always talk about keeping writing interesting, it's always going to be reading. Read. You want to read other authors' stories so that you can be inspired, you can get some new ideas. Just read. Reading is going to be a key factor to this, but I'm not going to lecture you on that because I've done it many times before. So I'm going to give you some other tips and tricks on how to keep writing interesting and fun. So one of the tips that I give people a lot is acting out your characters. This can make writing very fun. You want to act out your characters so you can get a different feel and perspective of how each character plays into the story. Now, you don't necessarily have to act this out in front of an audience. You can do this in front of the mirror. You want to act it out so you can get a better understanding of your characters. More so their emotions and how they interact with other characters in the story. The second thing I would recommend is drawing out your characters or drawing out your environment. This can be actually really fun for some people who actually already like drawing. And if you don't like drawing or you're not really good at it, you don't have to be good at it. A lot of famous authors out there use this tactic to get a better idea of what the story may look like visually through words, but more so through a drawing. But going on a deeper level, I would say one of the main things for writing a story and making it fun is adding humor. Having a story be so dry and not funny or have any funny characters can be very boring. So you want to have some interesting characters that have some humor to them. Even your most scary stories, like your horror stories or your most dramatic stories, have some funny character in it to balance out the seriousness. So you want to definitely play with the humor, and that'll make it fun for you because then you can kind of add some jokes or some one-liners, And I'll be honest with you guys, how I found this out was by going to events where I read my stories and other people read their stories. And what I noticed when certain people read their stories, the audience gravitated to stories that were serious but had some humor to them. If it was too serious, it was almost like they were feeling like they are being, I wouldn't say traumatized, but they felt like they were being lectured at that point or being put in this like state of mind where they should be in fear of something, which you don't want. You want to have your stories be entertaining. At the end of the day, guys, it's entertainment. So it doesn't need to be like a documentary. I mean, again, we're telling stories. Documentaries, it's okay because documentaries are meant to be serious. They're telling something from an actual historical event that actually took place. But for fiction, come on. We don't need to be that serious. We can play around with it. We can joke around with it. We can add some entertainment to it to make our audience feel, again, entertained. But I know that there's many of you that are going to say, well, writing isn't fun for everybody. I mean, writing, some people just don't like to write. And I understand that. I mean, this episode is more for people who have always loved writing, but are slowly kind of losing the love for it, and it just doesn't feel fun. Because again, to be a writer, you have to be willing to actually want to write. You also have to be willing to learn too, and I think that's a huge part of writing, the willingness to learn. Again, writers are kind of wordsmiths, so you have to be willing to learn different words and stick to that and practice it. If you're not willing to do that, then of course it's not going to be fun, and of course you're just not going to be into it. So again, this episode is more for people who love to write or people who've always been interested in writing. If you're not, then I mean, that's okay. I would still listen to the podcast just so you might be interested. You might learn something from this that might gear you to want to try at least. Don't think that because you might not have the skill set for it yet, or you don't have any interest in it, that you can't do it. I absolutely believe you can. But everyone, don't just go off of what I've said about how to make writing fun. These are some things that I picked up down the road that made it interesting for me. And I'm sure down the road you'll find some things that will make it interesting for you as well. I believe a lot of times when we're thinking about things like this, it takes some self-reflection. So you have to kind of self-reflect and figure out, why are you even writing? What makes it fun for you? Like, what would make it fun for you? Is it telling somebody your story? Is it telling a family member? Is it, publishing it, letting the whole world see? What are you excited about for your stories? And that's what's going to keep you motivated to keep going. I would say the last thing to make writing fun is change your environment. Get out of the house, get out of your apartment, and go to a library, go to a coffee shop, anywhere where it's different from your typical place that you work, and just go there. Because I think when you give yourself a different location, a different environment, your entire mood will change. I mean, if you look at most of your well-known authors, they never stay in one place when they write. They write everywhere to keep it interesting. I mean, it's kind of hard to be creative if you're stuck in a box. When you're amongst people, it's so much more different. You're more creative because you're seeing different elements around you, which could inspire some of your characters. And this, all in all, can be pretty fun because I guarantee you that you will most likely find some pretty interesting characters outside of your home. That is always going to be a given, especially in today's time. The world, without a doubt, can be a circus sometimes, and you're just pointing out the shows, the obvious shows that are going on. Well, of course, with a little sugar on top. But I think you all get the point. All in all, everyone, that's the tip for today for making writing fun again. Again, it's always a pleasure speaking with y'all. Stay tuned for the next episode. You know it, become a child again. Imagine, my friends, and I'll see you again.